Present. I know you've been carrying something heavy quietly while the world thinks you're okay. You smile, you talk, you get through your day. But there's a weight in your chest that no one sees. A memory that won't let go. A face you still feel. Present. A moment that keeps replaying in your mind no matter how much time passes. And you've been asking yourself the same questions again and again. Why did it happen this way? Why did they leave? Why didn't I see it coming? Why am I the only one still hurting? Listen, what you are feeling right now, this heaviness, this confusion, this ache, it is not random. This is not just heartbreak. This is not just loss. This is not just someone walking out of your life. This is Allah calling your heart back to Him. Present, because sometimes the heart holds on to what was never meant to stay. Sometimes the soul loves someone more than it was ever meant to. And Allah in His mercy removes what your heart could not let go of on its own. You think you lost something. But what if I told you you were being saved one day? Present, not today, but one day you will look back and say, if that person stayed, I would have lost myself. If that story continued, I would have ruined my peace. If that door never closed, I would have never found Allah the way I have now. So don't rush this. Don't fight this. Don't numb this. Let your heart feel. Let your soul breathe. Let your tears fall, because tears are how the soul washes. Tonight we are not here to forget. We are not here to erase memories. We are not here to force healing. We are here to understand. To understand why Allah allowed that connection. Why your soul felt it so deeply. Present, why the separation hurt so much and why it had to happen exactly the way it did. Stay with me through this. Don't skip, don't jump. Don't distract yourself, because by the time this video ends, you will not only understand why Allah took them away. Present, you will understand who you are becoming because of it. You will see that this pain is not the closing of your story. This pain is where your story begins. So take a deep breath. You're safe here. Your pain is seen here. Your heart is understood here. And Allah is closer to you right now than He has ever been. Present. Let's walk this journey together. Slowly, softly, one truth at a time. Allah, let the betrayal happen to show you who was sitting in your heart instead of Him. There are heartbreaks that don't just hurt your feelings. They shake your soul. Not because of what happened, but because of who it happened with. Present. You didn't just love them. You gave them a place in your heart that only Allah was supposed to have. You looked for comfort from them before you looked for comfort in prayer. You waited for their message more than you waited for. You felt peace when they were near and emptiness when they were distant. Your world moved around them. This wasn't love. This was attachment. And attachment is worship when the heart forgets who it truly belongs to. Allah saw that your heart was handing over its throne. You didn't notice it, but Allah did. Present. And Allah loves you too much to let you depend on something that could disappear. So the moment that person became bigger in your heart than your Lord, Allah let the disappointment happen, not to break you, but to wake you. You think you lost someone. Present. But what you really lost was the illusion that you needed them to survive. Allah didn't take them away to punish you. He took them away to teach you who your heart was designed to belong to. Because if your heart stays tied to people, every time they move, you break. Every time they leave, you shatter. Every time they change, you fall. But when your heart is tied to Allah, you don't break. When something leaves, you rise. Your tears were not the end, they were the turning point. Your pain was not a curse, it was a call. A call back to your Creator. Allah was saying, come back to me. I was always here. I never left. You just forgot my place in your heart. This heartbreak didn't close your story. It opened your eyes. You are not weakened. You are returning. Returning to the one who never betrays. Returning to the one who never leaves. Returning to the one whose love never depends on conditions or moods. Returning to the one who remains. Your heart is being reset to its rightful owner. This is not the end. This is the most beautiful beginning. Present. The one who deceived you was a door, not a destination. There are people who come into your life and you think they are the blessing you prayed for. Present. You think they are the answer to your dua. You think Allah sent them to stay. You opened your heart. You opened your trust. You opened your dreams. Present. You allowed yourself to believe to lose this person would break me. And then one day they showed you a side of their soul that left you silent. The words, the actions, the lies, the shift in tone, everything in your heart felt it. But listen carefully. Their purpose in your life was never to stay. They were a door, not a destination. If Allah wanted them to remain, He would have made love easy. He would have made trust natural. He would have made the connection clean and safe. But instead, you were shown confusion. You were shown disappointment. You were shown a heart that did not hold yours with sincerity. That is your sign. Present, not every connection is meant to be kept. Some are meant to move you. Move your heart, move your direction, move your understanding, move your level of dependency. Because sometimes the person who breaks you is the same person who pushes you toward Allah. If they never deceived you, you would have stayed in a place where your soul was shrinking. You would have loved in a way that made you forget your own value. You would have tied your peace to someone who did not know how to protect it. So Allah let the illusion fall apart, not to hurt you, but to free you. You didn't meet them by accident, and you didn't lose them by accident. Every conversation, every smile, every moment you thought was meaningful, present. Every memory that now feels heavy, it was all part of your journey toward understanding your heart. They were written in your story as a doorway that leads to growth. Present, not a home you were meant to live in. They were a lesson about who deserves your love, who your heart opens to. And when your heart must return to Allah, present, you were not rejected, you were redirected. Redirected away from someone who could not carry your soul. Redirected toward the one who always could. One day you will look back and say, if they had stayed, I would have never grown. I would have never awakened. I would have never come this close to Allah. You will thank Allah for the heartbreak that felt like it was killing you, but was actually saving you. Because what was taken from you was not your blessing. It was your distraction. Your blessing is still ahead, waiting for the healed version of you, the wiser version of you, the more spiritually awake version of you. The pain you feel right now is the sound of your heart being rebuilt, not ruined. You are not empty. You are being prepared. And one day you will understand why Allah had to close that door before He could open the one written in your destiny. Your loyalty was a test of your heart, not their character. You keep wondering why you were so loyal, why you held on even when everything inside you was hurting, why you forgave more than once, more than twice, more than what was even reasonable, why you kept giving chances when your heart was already bruised and exhausted. You think your loyalty was a mistake. You think you were foolish. You think you were weak. But listen carefully. Your loyalty was not a reflection of their value. Your loyalty was a reflection of your heart. The loyalty came from who you are, not who they were. You stayed because you loved truthfully. You stayed because you believed in sincerity. You stayed because your heart does not know how to give halfway. Your love is not cheap. Your promises are not temporary. Present, your commitment is not based on moods or convenience. But not everyone has that kind of heart. There are people who only know how to receive. Present, they don't know how to give back. They don't know how to appreciate. They don't know how to hold something pure without damaging it. And that's the painful part. You thought your love would teach them how to love. You thought your loyalty would awaken theirs. You thought your patience would soften them. But your loyalty was never meant to change them. Your loyalty was meant to reveal you. All I was showing you, look at your heart. Look how sincere it is. Look at how capable you are of loving purely. Look at how deeply you can care. This was never about them. This was Allah showing you who you are. They failed the character test. Yes, but you passed the heart test because even when you were hurting, you didn't lie. You didn't betray. You didn't play games. You didn't become cold or manipulative. You stayed kind. You stayed honest. You stayed respectful. You stayed real. This is not weakness. This is spiritual strength. Allah does not lose sight of this. Not even for a second. Every silent tear was written. Every night you slept with heaviness in your chest was witnessed. Every time you forgave without receiving apology, Allah recorded it. Your loyalty is not wasted. It is stored with Allah. Everything you gave will return to you. But it will return from a heart that knows how to hold yours. From a soul that understands trust, from someone who sees you, values you, and protects you. What was taken from you was not your worth. It was your time. And Allah will return both your peace and your joy in ways that make you forget how deeply you once acted. You didn't lose in the story. You didn't get played. You didn't get used. They simply showed Allah who they were, and you showed Allah who you are. And Allah always rewards the sincere. Always. Allah did not expose them to you. He exposed you to yourself. There are moments in life when a person's truth is shown to you. Not loudly, not suddenly, not through a dramatic event, but gently, quietly. In small signs, your heart began to notice a change in tone, a silence that didn't feel the same, a distance that your soul could feel even when the messages still came. At first, you thought you were imagining it. You kept telling yourself, no, they care, they wouldn't do this. But Allah kept placing small hints in front of you, Small whispers that said, look again, not to expose them in your eyes, present, but to expose you to yourself, to show you how you love, how you give, how you hope, how you trust, how your heart works. Because before this, you didn't know your depth. You didn't know how much patience you had. You didn't know how loyal you could be. You didn't know how forgiving you were willing to become. Present. You didn't know how soft your soul actually was. Their betrayal did not reveal who they are. It revealed who you are. You realized your love is not small. Your sincerity is not common. Your ability to care is not ordinary. Your heart is not like everyone else's heart. Present. And sometimes Allah lets your heart break so you can finally see its value. If Allah exposed them first, you might have blamed yourself. You might have said, if I tried harder, if I stayed longer, if I loved deeper. But Allah wanted you to see that you already did everything right. Your love was real. Your patience was real. Your loyalty was real. It just wasn't placed in the right hands. This was not a lesson about who they were. It was a lesson about who you have become. You learned that your soul is capable of loving without deceit. Your heart is capable of carrying pain and still staying gentle. Present. Your faith is capable of holding you up when your emotions collapse. You did not lose anything. You gained sight. Sight into yourself. Sight into your own softness. Sight into your own capacity. Sight into your own resilience. Sometimes Allah lets you see someone's reality. So you stop blaming yourself for what was never yours to fix. You are not broken. You are revealed. Revealed to yourself. Revealed to your Lord. Revealed to the version of you that is rising through this pain. One day you will look back and say, if that heartbreak never happened. Present, I would have never discovered who I truly am. What you thought was the end was actually the moment you met your real self. And that version of you, the one that came out of this, is wiser, softer, stronger, deeper, and closer to Allah than you have ever been before. Their peace will end the moment yours begins. There is a part of you that wonders if they got away with what they did. You see them laughing, moving on, smiling, living their life like nothing happened. And somewhere inside your heart whispers, did they really feel nothing? Did they walk away so easily? Was I the only one who felt anything at all? And that thought hurts more than the betrayal itself. But listen with your soul now. No one gets away with how they treat the heart of another. No one escapes the weight of their intentions. No one outruns what they plant in the world. What looks like peace in their life is not peace. It is delay. Allah does not rush the unfolding of a story. He lets the deceiver walk forward confidently, comfortably, so that when the truth reaches them, it reaches them with full clarity and full impact. Not when your heart is still breaking, not when you are still hurting. There's not when you are still crying and aching and trying to survive. No, Allah waits until you heal, until your heart is steady, until your soul has risen from the ashes. Present, until the storm inside you becomes calm again. Only then does the consequence arrive. Because Allah will never allow their downfall to be tied to your pain. He will allow it to unfold when you are already at peace, so that the memory of them no longer burns and their regret no longer affects your heart. Understand this deeply. The moment your heart begins to heal, their heart begins to remember. The moment your nights become peaceful again, present, their nights begin to feel heavy. The moment you stop checking their name, their chest begins to tighten when yours is mentioned. Not because you wish them harm, not because you wanted revenge, but because Allah is just. What is returned to a person is always a mirror of what they gave. They gave confusion. They will face confusion. They gave pain. They will meet pain. They gave inconsistency. They will be surrounded by uncertainty. Present. And the most silent punishment of all is the realization of what they lost. One day, slowly, quietly, without warning, they will remember the way you loved. Present. They will remember the softness in your voice, the sincerity in your care, the patience in your heart. They will remember your loyalty. When they meet people who only know how to take, they will remember your kindness. When they meet souls who speak with poison, they will remember your presence. When they try to sleep at night and silence forces them to face themselves, this is not your doing. This is not revenge. This is not bitterness. This is the natural return of what was given. And the most beautiful part, by the time their regret arrives, you will have healed so deeply, you will not need to see it. Present, your heart will no longer be tied to the story. Your peace will no longer depend on closure. Your happiness will no longer come from them. Their regret will be theirs to carry. Their lessons will be theirs to survive. Their journey back to themselves will begin, where your journey away from them ends. So do not wait for their regret. Do not wait for their apology. Present. Do not wait for the day they finally understand, because that day will come. But by then you will be too far into your healing to turn back and watch. Present. Your peace is not ahead of you. Your peace is already growing inside you. And the moment it reaches full bloom, their soul will start to feel the winter they planted. And there will come a day, not today, not tomorrow, when they will sit in the quiet of their own room. A room that once felt comfortable, but now feels small. A silence will fall over them. The kind of silence that does not feel peaceful, but heavy. Their mind will replay memories they thought they had forgotten. Not the arguments, not the ending, but the soft parts. The way you listened without interrupting. The way you smiled even when you were tired. The way your heart made room for theirs without being asked. The way your presence felt like home. Not everyone loses something valuable and realizes it immediately. Some people only understand value when they can no longer reach it. Present. They will look at the people around them and something inside will feel empty because they will see no one holds their words like you did. Present. No one understands their silence the way you did. No one loves them without asking for a price. And it will not just be memory. It will be awakening. Their chest will tighten. Their breath will catch. A wave will hit them. Not of pain, but of recognition. Recognition of what they threw away. Recognition of what they mistook for ordinary. Recognition of what they treated carelessly. This is how Allah returns lessons, not through punishment, through clarity. It's a clarity that arrives when it is too late to be undone. But here is the part that matters most. By the time this realization reaches them, present, your heart will no longer be standing where they left it. You will have grown. You will have healed. You will have learned how to breathe again, laugh again, trust again, not because of them, but because of Allah. Your heart will not ache for their return. Your soul will not crave their apology. Your life will no longer circle around their memory, because journeys are not meant to be walked backward. You will be standing in a new season, one built from patience, faith, and quiet strength. And they will be standing in the empty echo of their own choices. Not because Allah favored you over them, but because you protected your heart while they abandoned theirs. The peace you are walking into is the beginning of your healing. The restlessness they are walking into is the beginning of their lesson. This is not revenge. This is not victory. This is balance. This is divine timing. This is Allah's justice, quiet, precise, and beautifully fair. So breathe, walk gently, recover slowly. You are not losing, you are being freed. Present. And when the day comes that their heart begins to remember you, you will not feel what you once felt. You will not shake. You will not break. You will not go back and look through old messages or memories or pictures trying to feel something again, because Allah would have already replaced your pain with wisdom, your attachment with clarity, your longing with peace. You will not hate them. You will not resent them. You will not wish them harm. Present, because healing is not about winning. Healing is when you can look at the person who broke you and feel nothing but release. No anger, no clinging, no waiting, just peace. This is how you will know you have healed. Their name will no longer feel like a wound. Their memory will no longer feel like a weight. Present. Their presence or absence will no longer have power over your heart. Your heart will return to where it always belonged with Allah. Present. And that is when their heart will begin to crumble. Because the moment Allah returns your peace, He removes it from the one who caused your pain. And when Allah takes peace away, no sleep feels restful, no conversation feels warm, no laughter feels real. They will try to fill the emptiness with noise, with friends, present, with distractions, with temporary attachments. But nothing will touch the ache inside, because what they lost was not a person. What they lost was a soul that was good to them. And souls like yours are not found twice. But you will be standing somewhere quiet in a moment soft and ordinary. Present. Maybe drinking tea, maybe watching the sky, maybe folding a blanket, maybe tying your shoes. And suddenly you will realize, I survived that. I grew from that. I am not the same person who cried over what left. And your heart so gentle now will whisper, Alhamdulillah. Zend. Allah healed me in ways the world will never understand. And that is the real ending. Not revenge, not regret, not proof, not apology, just peace. The wound they left became the place Allah entered. The pain they left inside you was not just pain. It was a doorway. Present. A doorway that led you back to Allah in a way comfort never could. When life was easy, you remembered Allah, but you didn't cling to Him. You didn't collapse into Him. You didn't depend on Him with your whole chest. But when your heart broke, your soul began to whisper words you hadn't spoken in a long time. Your Allah, help me. Your Allah, I can't handle this. Your Allah, I am tired. Oh, that was the moment your heart returned to its true home. not to the person you lost, not to the world you tried to hold together, but to the one who created your heart in the first place. Pain is strange. It feels like destruction. But in reality, it is a reconstruction. You didn't just cry. You prayed while crying. You didn't just fall apart. You fell apart in front of Allah, present. And that changed everything, because before this heartbreak, you thought faith was something you held on to. But through this pain, you realized faith is really something that holds on to you. When everyone walked away, Allah stayed. When you had no words, Allah listened. When your heart was too heavy to speak, Allah understood. The wound they left became the place where Allah sat with you, where He comforted you, where He reminded you, I am still here, I always was. Every tear you cried alone was a conversation between you and your Lord. Every silent night you stared at the ceiling was Allah calling you gently, come closer to me, I will heal you differently. And slowly, not all at once, but gently, softly, quietly, your heart began to change. Your duas became deeper, your patience became stronger, your understanding became clearer. Then your connection with Allah became real. You stopped asking, why did this happen to me? And you started whispering, Ya Allah, just stay with me. And that shift, that moment is where your healing began. You are not healing because the pain ended. You are healing because Allah entered your heart through the pain. And the person who hurt you, they didn't know they were guiding you back to Allah. They didn't know they were pushing you closer to your Creator. They didn't know their departure was actually your return. If you look closely, the wound was not the breaking of your heart. It was the opening of it. Present, the pain was the key. The heartbreak was the doorway. The loss was the turning point. Your heart is not smaller now. It is deeper. It is wiser. It is softer. Present. It is more connected to Allah than ever before. What you gained is bigger than what you lost, because you didn't just lose someone. You found Allah in a way you never had before. And a heart that finds Allah never truly loses anything again. There will come a moment, maybe while you are sitting alone, present, maybe while your head is resting on your pillow, maybe while you are looking out of a window, when you will suddenly realize, I am not crying the way I used to. Not because you forgot what happened, not because the memory disappeared, but because the wound has turned into understanding. Present. The pain will still be somewhere inside you, but it will no longer control you. It will no longer shake your voice. It will no longer make your heart race. Present. It will simply exist quietly, like a chapter you walk through. And you will notice that you are breathing differently. Your heart feels cleaner. Your chest feels lighter. Your thoughts feel quieter. This is not by accident. This is Allah healing you from the inside out. The wound did not disappear overnight. The pain did not vanish in a single dua. It softened slowly, like the way the sun rises. Little by little, moment by moment, the nights that once felt heavy and endless begin to feel softer now. You feel yourself returning to life, but not as the person you were before. Present. You are returning as someone new, someone who no longer begs to be understood, someone who no longer tries to prove their worth, someone who no longer holds on to people who treat the heart carelessly. Your heartbreak taught you something that comfort never could. How to choose yourself in the presence of Allah. And as your heart reconnects with your Lord, present, you start to understand that the love you were looking for in someone else was always meant to be rooted in Him. When Allah enters the place where someone else once lived, everything begins to feel different. Your silence becomes sacred, not empty. Your loneliness becomes peaceful, not painful. Your tears become purification, not weakness. Your memories become teachers, not chains. You begin to realize you did not lose love. You lost dependency. You did not lose companionship. You lost attachment. You did not lose a person. You lost an illusion. But what you gained was Allah. And what you gained with Him is worth every tear you once cried. Because when Allah takes over the heart, pain becomes purpose, wounds become wisdom, loneliness becomes presence, and hardship becomes elevation. The wound they left did not end your story. It rebuilt your soul. Present, you are no longer someone who begs for love. You are someone who recognizes your own. And now your heart belongs to the one who never breaks what He heals and never leaves what He holds. This was not loss. This was rebirth. Present. There will come a day when you look back and realize something very beautiful. The person who left your life was not the center of your story. Present, they were the turning point. Without that pain, you would not have discovered your own strength. Without that loss, you would not have learned to sit with Allah in the silence. Without that disappointment, your heart would have remained small, attached to something temporary, fragile, unstable. But now look at you. Your heart is beginning to remember its creator. Your soul is quietly learning how to breathe again. Your chest is learning how to expand without another human being needing to stand inside it. You are learning how to exist with Allah present. And that is one of the most powerful transformations a human being can experience. Because before you kept trying to hold your life together by yourself. You tried to manage your feelings alone. You tried to carry your heartbreak privately, bravely, quietly until your heart couldn't hold the weight anymore. And when your heart broke, it didn't break down, it broke open. Open enough for Allah to enter. Open enough for guidance to return. Open enough for clarity to settle. Open enough for peace to begin. It was never about the person who left. It was about the space they left behind. A space that Allah filled. And when Allah fills the heart, the world can shake, but you do not collapse. People can leave, but you do not lose yourself. Seasons can change, but you remain held because you are not standing by yourself anymore. You are being carried by the one who knows the quiet cries behind your eyes. Zen, carried by the one who knows the thoughts you never say out loud. Carried by the one who knows exactly how much you can take and when to send ease. You may not be fully healed yet, but you are healing, and that is enough. Your heart is learning to trust Allah again. Your soul is learning to soften again. Says your eyes are learning to see life with new light. There is a gentleness returning to you, a peace slowly forming, a calm rebuilding itself inside your chest. And this time that peace is coming from Allah, not from a person who could leave. This is why the wound was sacred, because it guided you back to the one who never leaves. You will not get back what you lost. You will receive what was written. You keep thinking that if you had done something differently, if you had said something else, and if you had held on a little longer, maybe the story would have ended another way. But your heart needs to understand something very gently. Present. What you lost was never meant to stay. It was written to leave. It was written to end. Not because you were unworthy. Not because you were difficult to love. Present, not because your heart was too much, but because your heart is too precious to remain in the hands of someone who could not honor it. There are some souls who enter your life not to be your home, but to teach you why your heart cannot live in just anyone's hands. The love you gave was real. The sincerity you carried was pure. The prayers you made were honest. But the connection you felt was not written to be forever. Not everything you want is meant to be yours. Some things only come to prepare you for what is. You were not meant to return to what you lost. You were meant to outgrow it. The version of you that loved them is not the version of you that exists now. You changed in the pain. You matured in the silence. Then you deepened in the loneliness. You grew in the waiting. The person you are becoming cannot live the life you were trying so hard to hold on to. Present. Allah did not take anything from you. He freed you. Freed you from waiting for someone who didn't know what to do with your heart. Present freed you from conversations that drained you. Freed you from wounds that were repeating in cycles. Present freed you from someone who didn't realize your worth while you stood right in front of them. Sometimes love does not fail because it was fake. Sometimes love ends because it was misplaced. Your heart was ready. Theirs was not. Your soul was awake. Theirs was still sleeping. Your intentions were clear. Theirs was still confused. You were carrying a love they had no capacity to return. And Allah saw your exhaustion. The nights you stayed up thinking. Present, the tears you hid from everyone. The way your chest tightened when you tried to let go. The way you begged for answers. The way you held on to hope until your hands shook. And Allah said, music, my servant, you have held on long enough. Now let me take over. And He did. Present, He separated what your heart was not strong enough to separate on its own. Not because He wanted to break you, but because He wanted to release you. Because He is preparing something else, something written, something protected, something aligned with who you are becoming, not who you used to be. You will not get back what you lost because what you lost was too small for the person you are turning into. Your future is bigger than your past. Then your story is deeper than this chapter. Your soul is older than this attachment. Allah is rewriting your life with new characters, new softness, new peace, new love. Present. But healing takes time. Rebuilding takes time. Becoming takes time. This ending was not the punishment. It was the beginning. The beginning of a wiser heart, a gentler spirit, a mind, a stronger faith, a deeper relationship with Allah. Do you know why it still hurts sometimes? Why certain memories still burn? Is why some nights feel healing, and healing is not instant. Healing is not loud. Healing is not forced. Healing is slow. Healing is gradual. Healing is soft. Healing is waking up one morning and realizing the pain is just a memory. Healing is walking past the places that used to break you and feeling peace. Healing is hearing their name and not feeling your soul collapse. Healing is realizing the story is over and you are not. Your life did not end when they left. So your suffering did not define you. Your loneliness did not destroy you. It rebuilt you. Your heart is not the same. Your faith is not the same. Your soul is not the same. You are not waiting for what left anymore. You are opening to what is coming. Present. You are being prepared for someone who will recognize your soul without needing to be told how to love it. Someone who will not run. Someone who will not hide. Someone whose heart is capable of meeting yours openly, softly and honestly. Someone who is written. Someone who will stay. Someone who will feel like home. What you left behind was temporary. What is coming is eternal. The past was a lesson. The future is a gift. And one day, one quiet, gentle day, present, you will look back and say, Ekar, if I had gotten what I wanted back then, I would have never received what Allah wrote for me now. And on that day, your heart will finally understand you never lost anything. You were only being guided. And somewhere down the line, without realizing exactly when it happens, you will stop waiting for them to return. Not because you forced yourself to move on, not because you tried to forget, not because you got over it, but because your heart has simply outgrown the place where they still live. There is a moment in healing that arrives quietly. A moment when you finally understand, I didn't lose anything. I was being prepared for something better. And it is in that moment that your soul exhales for the first time in a long time. The anxious breathing becomes calmer. The heavy heartbeat becomes steady. The thoughts that used to run wild begin to soften like waves settling after a storm. This is when you realize that the pain didn't stay. It passed through you and left behind something pure, clarity. Clarity about who you are. Clarity about what love means. Clarity about how your heart deserves to be treated. Clarity about where your soul wants to be anchored. Present. You begin to understand that you never truly needed that person. You needed the lesson their presence brought into your life. They came to show you what you should not accept, what you should not settle for, what you should no longer shrink yourself to fit inside. Present. They came as a mirror reflecting the insecurities you needed to face, the wounds you needed to heal, the parts of yourself you needed to finally outgrow. Present. And once that purpose was fulfilled, their presence no longer had a place in your story. That is why Allah removed them. Not suddenly, not violently, just quietly. Like a leaf falling from a branch when the season changes because your season changed. You are not the person who once held on to them. You are softer now, present, but stronger in the softness. You are gentler now, but clearer in the gentleness. You are still capable of love, but now your love has boundaries. You don't chase. Present, you don't beg, you don't cling. Your heart now knows that anything forced is not written. Anything unclear is not destined. Anything heavy on the soul is not from Allah. Present, and this is where the real shift happens. Your heart begins to trust the timeline of Allah more than the desires of your past. You stop asking, why did this happen to me? And you start whispering, Ya Allah, thank you for saving me from what I couldn't see. You stop saying, I wish they stayed. And you start saying, if they were meant to stay, they would have. Present, you stop clinging to memories and you start clinging to peace. You stop looking back because Allah is teaching you how to look forward. Forward to the love that aligns with your soul. Forward to the person who will not run. Forward to the warmth that will not confuse you. Present, forward to the peace that will not leave. For what? To what was written. For what? To what has always been waiting for you. For what? To the chapter that will make every tear make sense. This is not wishful thinking. This is the promise of a Lord who is too merciful to let your pain end in loss. Your heart is walking towards something better, something softer, something safer, and something that stays because what is written for you is already moving in your direction. You don't need to chase it, and you just need to heal enough to recognize it when it arrives. And you are healing, you are rising. You are preparing slowly, quietly, beautifully. And one day you will look back at the version of you who was crying, trembling, breaking, holding on to something already gone. And your heart will soften for that person, not with shame, not with regret, but with mercy. You will feel compassion for the person you used to be. The one who didn't know how to let go. The one who didn't understand their own worth. The one who kept giving love, hoping it would be returned. Present, you will realize that version of you was not weak. That version of you was learning what love is, learning what attachment is, learning what faith is. Present, learning what it means to trust Allah with the things you can't control. You will be proud of that person because they survived what you thought would break you forever. They walked through fire and came out wearing gentleness. They carried pain and still chose not to turn bitter. They held on to hope even when everything felt lost. That version of you was not lost. That version of you was becoming. And as you reflect on your journey, you will see the ending wasn't the end. It was the doorway. The doorway to a deeper you, a truer you, a wiser you. You will begin to notice new kinds of peace. Peace in waking up and not feeling heaviness in your chest. Peace in going through your day without waiting for a message that never came. Peace in knowing that your heart no longer lives in someone else's hands. Peace in being able to breathe again softly, calmly, fully. This peace does not arrive all at once. It arrives gradually like dawn, a slow light, a gentle rising, a quiet return. You will become grateful for the things that once made you cry. You will look at Allah with a new kind of love. Present, a love born from the nights you spent broken, asking Him to hold your heart together. And you will know without needing anyone to explain. Everything you lost was replaced with something better inside you. Strength that does not show off. Softness that does not break. Clarity that does not shake. Faith that does not collapse. You will realize you are not waiting for someone to come save you. You are not waiting for someone to complete you. Present, you are not waiting for someone to make your heart feel alive again. Your heart is already alive because Allah brought it back to life. Present. Now when love comes again, and you will not love with desperation. You will not love with fear. You will not love with insecurity. You will love with fullness, with calmness, with balance, with Allah at the center, not a person. Because once your heart has learned to sit with Allah, no one else can ever take His place in it. Present, you didn't lose love, you learned how to love correctly. And that is why this chapter had to end, so that the next one could begin in a heart that is no longer breaking but ready. And with time, not suddenly, not all at once, but slowly, like leaves changing color, you will stop asking, why did they leave? Why did they change? Why did this happen to me? Because the heart that once begged for answers will now understand without needing any. Sometimes the answer is simply it was not written to stay. And when the heart accepts this, truly accepts it, a deep quietness settles inside. Not emptiness, not loneliness, but space for breath, space for peace, space for Allah, to place something new, something softer, something healthier, something that fits the version of you that is growing. Present, you will begin to notice how the world feels different, how your mornings feel lighter, how your nights feel calmer, how your tears, when they come, are no longer painful. Cleansing. Your heart is not bleeding anymore. It is rinsing, it is releasing, it is renewing itself. And the more your heart heals, the less you desire what once harmed you. You will begin to see that love is not meant to feel anxious, not meant to feel confusing. Present, not meant to feel like your soul is being pulled in opposite directions. Real love aligns you with Allah, not away from Him. Real love brings silence to the mind and expansion to the chest. Real love does not rush your heart, it respects it. Real love does not threaten your peace. It protects it. And when you finally experience that kind of love, the kind that is gentle, sincere, steady, you will look back and understand what I thought was love before was only attachment, searching for safety. It was never about going back to what you lost. It was about going forward to what has been written for your soul since the beginning. Your story was never behind you. Your story has always been ahead. As one day in a quiet moment you don't expect, you will smile again without forcing it. You will feel joy again without pretending. You will love again without fearing the fall. And that love will feel like sunlight after a long winter. Warm, gentle, familiar, comforting, safe. And when you look at the person standing beside you in that future, the one who sees you clearly, chooses you consistently and honors your heart like it is something sacred, you will whisper inside yourself, Alhamdulillah, everything I lost led me here. And you will understand in the deepest part of your soul, you never lost. You were being guided, you were being shaped, you were being prepared for the love that stays present, for the love that protects, for the love that was written, for the love that feels like peace. Allah rewrites stories in silence. There comes a moment in every soul's journey where everything becomes quiet. Not because life becomes easy, not because the pain disappears, not because the story suddenly makes sense, but because the heart finally stops fighting what Allah has written. This is the moment where sorrow turns into surrender. You are not giving up, you are giving in into Allah's protection, into His wisdom, into His timing, into His plan that has been quietly unfolding behind every tear you cried. You spent so long trying to hold everything together, trying to understand. Present, trying to fix what was breaking, trying to save what was slipping, trying to prove your worth, trying to keep love alive, and it exhausted you. You kept pouring from a heart that was running out of strength. You kept waiting for someone to see your soul the way you saw theirs. Present, you kept hoping for words that never came, for healing from the same source that caused the wound. And Allah watched not because He didn't care, but because He was waiting for that exact moment when your heart whispered, "Lie Allah, I can't do this alone anymore." And the moment you said that, present, even silently, even without words, even through tears alone on your pillow, something shifted. The weight you were carrying was no longer just yours. Your grief became a prayer. Your heartbreak became a dua. Your silence became a form of worship. So there are prayers that are spoken and there are prayers that fall from the eyes. Allah heard both. Nothing you felt was invisible to Him. Not the long nights, not the trembling breaths, not the confusion you hid from the world, not the smile you forced to look fine. Allah saw every moment you hid your pain so others wouldn't worry. Allah saw every time you held back words because your heart was tired. Allah saw every time you tried to forgive when your chest was still hurting. Allah saw every time you tried to let go but your hands were shaking. Allah saw everything, and He was closer to you in those moments than at any other time in your life. Because pain, more than anything else, brings the heart back to Allah. Not the blessings, not the happiness, not the comfort. Pain is what turns a person from the world and back to the one who created their heart. This heartbreak was not the end of your story. It was the meeting point between you and Allah. The wound did not push you away from Him. It pulled you closer. You began speaking to Him again, not just in memorized words, not just in routine prayers, but in raw whispers, in honest breaths, in trembling confessions, in the deep private ache of your soul. You didn't just pray to Allah, you returned to Him. And return is always a blessing. It may not feel like a blessing yet. It may still hurt, the memories may still sting, the chest may still tighten. But healing is not a sudden sunrise. Healing is a slow dawn. You are rising. Even on the days you feel like you are drowning, you are rising. Even when you cry again, you are rising. Even when old memories return, you are rising. Even when you don't feel strong, your healing is happening quietly. The same way a seed breaks underground before it grows. No one sees the breaking. They only see the blooming. You are still underground right now. You are still breaking open. You are still being softened. You are still being reshaped, rewired, remade. And one day, without warning, you will bloom. You will wake up and feel peace again. Not loud peace, not excited peace, soft peace, still peace. A peace that feels like sitting beside Allah. A peace that doesn't need explanations. A peace that doesn't need closure. A peace that doesn't need answers. A peace that simply says, "We are Allah." Present, what you wrote for me was better than what I wanted. You will look back at the love you lost and realize it was too small for the person you are becoming. Present, you will look back at the heartbreak and realize it was the door to discovering Allah's closeness. You will look back at the version of you that cried and gently whisper, "You survived. You didn't break, you transformed." Every tear brought you closer to your Lord. Every ache brought your heart back to remembrance. Every disappointment peeled you away from the world and wrapped you back into Allah's arms. This was never just heartbreak. This was Allah calling you home to Him, to peace, to a love that never leaves. And now your heart knows the love that is written for you will find you. The person who is written for you will not pass you. The joy that is written for you will unfold in its time. The peace that is written for you is already approaching. The healing that is written for you is already building inside your chest. Nothing written for you will ever pass you by. And nothing taken from you was meant to stay. So breathe, you are safe now, not because the pain is gone, but because you are no longer facing it alone. Allah is with you, and He always was. There is a stage in healing where the heart begins to understand what the mind once resisted. You stop asking, "Why did they hurt me?" and you start whispering, "Then, Ya Allah, thank you for showing me what my heart was not meant to depend on." You stop asking, "Why did it end?" and you begin to see ending was the beginning disguised in pain. You stop asking, "What could I have done differently?" and you begin to realize there was nothing I could have done to keep what was never written for me. This is not giving up. This is growth. Because the more your heart heals, the more you begin to see Allah's mercy where you once only saw pain. Present, you begin to realize that if Allah had allowed that relationship to continue, your heart would be trapped in a loop of silent suffering, loving too deeply, waiting too long, hurting too quietly. If Allah had allowed that person to stay, your soul would have remained small, your spirit would have remained dependent, your happiness would have remained fragile. Allah knew your heart better than you did. He saw the breaking point long before you admitted it. Present, He saw the heaviness in your chest long before you named it. He saw the loneliness you tried to hide even while you were standing beside someone. So He removed you. He removed you from the pain you normalized. He removed you from the love that was draining you. He removed you from the person you were slowly losing yourself for. And yes, the removal hurt. It ripped something inside you. It left you bruised and confused and speechless. But look at you now. You are learning to breathe again. Present. You are learning to stand again. You are learning to speak to Allah with a heart that is finally honest. You are learning to exist without begging for someone to stay. And slowly, very slowly, something beautiful is forming inside you. A heart that remembers its source. A heart that trusts without explanation. A heart that finds peace in surrender. A heart that says, if it was written for me, it will come. If it was not, no force in this world can make it stay. There is power in that. There is softness in that. There is freedom in that. Because the heart that trusts Allah does not fear loss anymore. It understands that what is yours cannot be taken and what is not yours cannot be held. So now your heart doesn't chase. It doesn't beg. It doesn't cling. It accepts. And that acceptance is not cold or numb. It is quiet. It is mature. It is peaceful. It is the kind of peace that comes from being held by Allah. A peace that does not depend on what happens around you. A peace that does not disappear when people come or go. A peace that remains because it does not come from a person. It comes from the one who never leaves. And when your heart reaches this place, the world can change. People can change. Life can change. But your heart remains unshaken because it has finally learned where to rest. In Allah, always in Allah. And there will come a day somewhere in the future. Not when you expect it and not when you search for it, but on a quiet, ordinary morning when your heart will feel different. Present, you will wake up and notice that the heaviness you carried for so long has loosened its grip. Not because you forced yourself to move on, not because you distracted yourself, not because time made you forget. No, it will be because Allah repaired your heart from the inside. This healing will feel soft, not loud, not dramatic, not sudden. It will feel like a breeze passing through your chest, like a window opening inside your soul. Present, like light entering again after a long winter. And in that moment, you will realize something sacred. Allah never asked you to heal alone. Then, He never asked you to be strong by yourself. He never asked you to hold your pain without Him. All this time, He was simply waiting for you to hand Him the weight. Present, the tears you cried at night, they were not wasted. They were prayers. The silence where your voice broke inside your throat, it was heard, it was recorded, it was held. Present, the heartache that felt endless, it was not a sign that Allah abandoned you. It was the very proof that He was calling you back to Him. The pain was the doorway. The wound was the entrance. The loneliness was the key. Because sometimes the heart only remembers Allah when it is empty. Present, and now slowly your heart is learning how to love again. But this time not through attachment, not through dependence, not through desperation. So this time your love is rooted in Allah, which means your peace will not collapse. Your joy will not rely on someone staying. Your worth will not be determined by someone else's acceptance. You are being rebuilt with a foundation that cannot be shaken. The next love that comes into your life, the real love, will not feel like fear. It will not feel like waiting to be chosen. It will not feel like begging for reassurance. It will not feel like losing yourself piece by piece to keep someone close. It will feel like coming home. It will feel like Allah saying, know that your heart is mine again. I will send someone who can walk with you, not replace me. And that love, the one written for you, will recognize you without needing to be convinced. They will see your softness and protect it. They will see your loyalty and honor it. They will see your soul and meet it with theirs. They will sit beside your wounds without fear. They will never ask you to shrink just to be loved. They will be calm. They will be clear. They will be consistent. They will stay, not because you try. Not because you beg, not because you fear losing them. Present. They will stay because Allah wrote them to stay. But understand this. Allah could only send that kind of love after your heart returned to Him first. Present. Because if He sent them earlier, your heart would have clung to them instead of to Him. You needed the heartbreak to learn where to anchor your soul. You needed the silence to learn who listens without words. You needed the loneliness to learn you were never alone. Zend, you needed the breaking who heals without being asked. Every tear had meaning. Every ache had purpose. Every night with swollen eyes was a step toward your rebirth. So now when you look at your heart, you do not see something broken. You see something reborn, more patient, more wise, more gentle, more connected to Allah than ever before. A heart like that, a heart rebuilt by Allah Himself, can never be returned to what once harmed it. Your life is not over. Your story is not ruined. Your love is not gone. Everything you thought you lost is about to be returned in a form more beautiful than you imagined. The peace you begged for is coming. The love you prayed for is coming. The life you hoped for is coming. Not in your timing, in Allah's timing. And His timing is perfect. So breathe. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not unloved. Allah is preparing something for you that could only be given to the heart that survived this chapter. Your story is not about who left. Your story is about who stayed, and Allah stayed always. And as the days continue to unfold, you will begin to notice something gentle happening inside you. You no longer rush your healing. Present, you no longer wake up counting how many days have passed since the heartbreak, or how many memories still hurt, or how much progress you have made. You simply allow yourself to be. Some days you are strong, some days you are soft. Some days the memories feel distant. Some days they return with full color. Present. And yet even in those moments, you will feel a quiet difference. You do not collapse anymore, because now when your heart trembles, you know where to go. You go to the one who never left. There will be nights when the sadness returns like a small wave. But instead of drowning, present, you place your hand over your heart and whisper, La Allah, stay with me. And just like that, peace returns. Not because the sadness disappeared, but because you learned how to sit with it without fear. The heart that has Allah is not a heart that never hurts. It is a heart that no longer fears pain. Because now you understand pain does not destroy you. It transforms you. Pain does not close your story. It turns the page. Pain does not take away love. It redirects it to the one who can protect it. Your heart is being trained. Trained to hold love with balance, not desperation. Trained to give love with wisdom, not blindness. Trained to recognize souls by their sincerity, not by their words. Trained to choose peace over attachment, Allah over everything. Present. And this is where you realize the most profound truth. The love you thought you lost was never the love your soul was created for. What you lost was temporary. What you are moving toward is eternal. What you let go of was unstable. What you are being written into is secure. What slipped from your hands had no foundation. Present. What Allah is preparing for you is built on faith, patience, honesty, and presence, not fear. One day you will wake up with no ache at all. Present. Not because you forgot your past, but because your heart has been filled with Allah, filled with self-respect, filled with quiet understanding. Present. Filled with trust in the divine story of your life. And when the love that is written for you arrives, you will recognize it effortlessly. Not by butterflies, not by anxiety, not by obsession, not by fear of losing them, but by peace. A peace that feels familiar. A peace that feels safe. A peace that feels like Allah saying, this is what I was preparing you for. And when you look at the person standing beside you in that future, the one who speaks with honesty, listens with their heart, chooses you with clarity, remains when things get heavy, walks with you toward Allah, you will understand. Present. Every tear brought you here. Every pain shaped you for this. Every prayer guided your steps. You didn't lose. You didn't fail. You didn't break. Present. You became someone whose love is rooted in Allah. And love rooted in Allah does not shake. It does not disappear. It does not fade. It grows. This is your story. Now a heart that returned to Allah. And because of that return, Allah is now preparing a love that will return to you. A love that stays. A love that heals, a love that honors, a love that reflects Allah's mercy on earth. Your heart is no longer searching, it is waiting. And not waiting in pain, waiting in peace. Because now you know what is written for you is already on its way. And what left you was never yours. You made it to the end. Present, and that alone says something about you. It means your heart is not weak. It means your soul is not broken. It means you are still trying even when it hurts. And Allah sees that. Every quiet terror, every silent prayer, every night you couldn't explain what was happening inside you. Not a single moment was ignored. Your story did not end with the heartbreak. Your story did not end when they left. Your story did not end when you felt like your chest was collapsing. This right here was the moment Allah began rewriting your life. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not lost. You are being carried. Carried into a softer chapter. Carried into a wiser version of yourself. Carried into a life that will make every tear make sense. One day, and that day will come softly. present, you will look back at this pain and say, Alhamdulillah, Allah did not let me stay where my heart was breaking. Your heart will be peaceful again. Your soul will feel light again. Your smile will return again, not forced but real. And when love comes next time, it will be gentle, it will be pure, it will be patient, it will be safe because it will be written. So for now, rest your mind, rest your thoughts, rest your heart in Allah's hands. Say, you do not need to figure everything out tonight. Just whisper one thing. Your Allah, I trust your plan more than my pain. And let peace begin. I'm proud of you. Present. And Allah is closer than your own heartbeat. Until next time.